Okay, so these are the four topics now left off for us, and we are going to start coordinate geometry today. And this coordinate geometry has two portions. One of the portion is the same as the one which you have studied in O levels in your IGCSEs. So we will revise that concisely, and then we will move on to the AS part. In AS part, you will see equation of circle, equation of circle. On the same XY axis, you will see how do you plot a circle, or what is the center of the circle and the radius of the circle, and how do you apply the same logic of the coordinate geometry on circles, and a little bit of quadratics that we did may be applied over here as well, relating the equation of circle. So these two things can combine as well. So right now we will go through the IGCSE, the revision quickly. We know it was very simple in our O levels. Find the equation of the line, the gradient formula, the distance formula. So here it is. I've opened up the notes from the previous session because this is the older part, and we know we're just going to revise things. Everything is the basically the same. So we know that x and y axis. We know about that. Positive x axis, positive y axis. We have a coordinate. Any coordinate will have the x comma y. Always the x coordinate is written first and then the y coordinates. And we call this the Cartesian coordinate system. This x y axis, the system is this system is Cartesian coordinate system. Then when they have given you 2 points, these are the first formulas that you learn in the O level in the IGCC. The distance between 2 points, which is this formula, which I think that you have done this in very much detail, a lot of practice in your O level, so you people might memorize, know about this as well. You can recall this. Then midpoint is the center point. For example, these two are the points, and finding the midpoint, the coordinate of the center points between the 2 points that they have given you. So you add the y's, divide by 2, and you add the x coordinates of the 2 points and then divide by 2. Then the gradient of a line, when you join 2 points, any 2 points, it will create a line. And to find the gradient between the two lines, the slope, we call the gradient the slope as well, or the steepness or the rise over run. So the change in y, gradient is change in y upon change in x. So you can see the coordinates of the other point and the coordinates of the previous one. So x2 minus y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1. Then gradient of a line. Now this is when you go deeper in the understanding of the gradients. These four different values of gradient that you can get for a line, and the values of the gradient, just by looking at the value, you can understand about the direction of the line, the shape of the line, the orientation as well. So look, if you have a positive gradient, if your gradient is positive, if it is 5 or 2 or 3 or 7 or anything which is positive, then your line is always tilted to the right side. Always like this. It will always be like this. It will be like this. So you can see all of the lines over here that I'm drawing, they are all tilted to the right side, and all of them would have a positive gradient. Some of them would have a smaller than the other. That depends on the steepness. This would have the largest gradient because it is the steepest, and this will have the smallest gradient. Let's suppose it is, if this is 1, this may be 10. So the value depends on the steepness, and the direction of the line, it depends on the positive negative. Then if you have a negative gradient, your line will always be tilted to the left side. So this is also having a negative gradient, this is also a negative gradient, this is also a negative gradient, and this would have the biggest value, the most negative. Let's suppose over here the gradient is negative 10, this gradient will be negative 1. Both of them are negative, but the value, the magnitude of one of them is bigger. It depends on the steepness. If it is a steeper line, then the magnitude of the gradient will be also steeper. Then if you have a zero gradient is always a horizontal line. You have to memorize this. You have to learn this. A horizontal line will always have a zero gradient. Horizontal line. Then vertical line has infinite steepness. So the gradient is infinity, and it is a vertical line. You won't see this one much. These three things are more important. A horizontal line, a right side tilted line, and a left side tilted line. Just by looking at the value of the gradient, you can tell this thing about a line. Okay, Ryan, I think he was with me in O level. We did this thing in detail in O level as well. But right now, this may help you. Sanchi also, they have seen this thing. Moni, ये चीजें जो है ना, this will help you in understanding the question. You may not need this. They might not ask you about this thing, but when you understand the thing better, so it helps you to do the questions. You understand the question and get the answer. Then about the gradient further, we did in the O level that if two lines are parallel, they have the same gradient. Sorry. If two lines are parallel, you can see you have to learn this that the gradients are same, and if the two lines are perpendicular, then they are negative reciprocal of each other. So m1 is negative reciprocal of m2, or m2 is also, you can say, the negative reciprocal of m1. So if you know the gradient of m1 of one of the lines, let's suppose this is 2, one of the lines, it is 2, m1 we know it is a positive gradient, so it should be tilted to the right side. Okay, this is your m1, let's suppose. So your m2, if you do the negative reciprocal, you multiply with the negative and then do upside down, so 1 upon 2, 2 becomes 1 upon 2 and multiply by negative, so negative reciprocal. So now this line will have a gradient of negative half. Okay, if your gradient of one of the lines is negative 7 upon 8, you do the negative reciprocal, so you will get negative negative becomes positive and 8 upon 7 upside down. So if you know this thing that the two lines are parallel or perpendicular, you can then work out the gradients of each other by these two relationships. This is also you did in IGCSE O level. That's finding the equation of a line. You had two formula for the equation of the line: y is equals to mx plus z, and this is another one that I don't know if you have learned this or not, but we discussed in O level. Ryan may know this. So y minus y1 is equals to m is your gradient and x minus x1. So whenever you want to find the equation of a line, a single line, you need to have at least 2 points. So if you have the 2 points, look, in this case they've given you 2 points a and b. So you can easily find the gradient between them using the formula. You have the gradient formula, you found the gradient to be 1. And then you can use one of the points. Look, then I replaced my value of gradient as 1. So y is equals to 1x plus c. And then I am inputting my value, my coordinate of a, or you can input the coordinate of b as well. It's up to you. You will get the same c value. So if my a is 5, 6, so x is 5 and y is 6. So look, y is equals to x plus 5. So your c comes out as 6 minus 5 is 1. And so now you can replace everything, your gradient and the value of c that you have found. So y is equals to x plus 1. This is how you find the equation of a line. Over here, you will find the same equation of the line using this formula as well. That's what I've showed over here. So look, you have already found the gradient, you replace it by 1, and you use any one of the points, you input them over here. So your x is 5 for a and y is 6. So y minus 6 is equals to 1 gradient x minus 5. So when you simplify, you move things around, you get the same equation. So look, x minus 5 and this minus 6 would over there and become plus. So minus 5 plus 6 is 1 again. So if you use this formula or this formula, it's up to you. I would recommend you to use this one. This is better and more advanced, or according to your level. This is this eases your working as well. It requires less working. So finding the equation of a line, you should be very very good at this thing, because this is what's done in O level IGCSE. Then further, what do we have? Perpendicular bisector, point of intersection, and here we have done some questions. So perpendicular bisector is what? A line which is passing through the center of 2 points perpendicularly. So these are the 2 points, and there's a line L, you can see, passing through the center to the midpoint of AB. This is your A, this is your B, and passing through the mid of AB and perpendicularly at 90 degrees. So for this thing, you would need to find the midpoint, because midpoint of AB is the point where the perpendicular bisector is also passing and the line is also passing. So how do you find the midpoint? You add the x, you divide by 2. Look, so 5 plus 7 upon 2 and 6 plus 8 upon 2. So you found the midpoint. This point is 6 comma 7. Then you find the gradient of AB. You use the same formula, y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1. These two are the same points we used over here. 5 comma 6, 7 comma 8. 5 comma 6, 7 comma 8. So we know the gradient of this line AB. It was 1. So the gradient of the perpendicular would be, it would be -1, negative reciprocal, right? So multiply by -1, multiply by minus, and then upside down. So -1 upon 1. So now you have the gradient of this line as well, and you have the point as well. So you would use these two things and find the equation. Y is equals to minus x plus 13. So you should understand what they're asking you. Perpendicular bisector, this, visualize it and see what are they asking you actually, and then start off with the working. You have to analyze yourself what steps are needed according to the situation you work. Don't just memorize the steps and everything. Understand the question. Then you have the point of intersection. We know about this logic as well. Point of intersection is the simultaneous solution. We know about this. Whenever they ask you to find the point of intersection between two lines, you simultaneously solve them together. Simple. These two lines are given to you, and the point of intersection will be the simultaneous solution that you do by substitution or elimination. Substitution method is the best one. You will see when the equation of circle is also introduced. So in the when you are trying to solve them simultaneously with the equation of circle, so substitution method is the one which you will use. Elimination cannot be used then. So keep this thing in mind as well. Simultaneously solving if to find the point of intersection. Then x and y intercept. At the x intercept, your y is always 0. At your y intercept, your x is always 0. You need to learn this. You have been doing this thing for a very long time, but still I know people tend to forget this thing or confuse between them or make silly mistakes. For the x intercept, they may set x as 0. X intercept is the point where your line or the curve is crossing the x axis. So on that point, your y is 0. And y intercept is where your line or curve is crossing the y axis. And there your x will be 0. And then you find the other point. You find the value of x over here. You find the value of y over here. And that will be, those will be a point. So these are the things that you did in your O level, IGCSEs. Everything that you have done will be continued over here as well in AS as well. You will see questions related to this thing as well, and definitely you will see circles as well, because that is the addition. Circles, equation of circle. Any question, anyone till now?
No, sir.
Rayan, Munib?
No, sir.
Okay, now moving on to the AS part, finding the equation of circle. Now we know this is your not a circle. If let's suppose this is your circle, and we know this is the y-axis, this is your x-axis. The general equation of a circle, you have to learn this. General equation of circle, it is like this: x minus a whole square plus y minus b whole square is equals to r square, where a comma b is the center of the circle and radius r is radius. That is it. So let's suppose the question is find equation of circle if center is 0 comma 0 and the radius is 5. Center is 1 comma minus 2, radius is 4. Center is 0 minus 5, radius is 10. We will find these equations and then we will see on Desmos as well. And the center is 6 comma 0, radius is 1. So we just have to, we know the radius, we know the center. So we would just input them in the correct position and then find the equation. So look, if I told you in the first case your center is 0, so this means your value of A is also 0, the value of B is also 0. So in the general form, if you replace them, this would become x minus 0 whole square plus y minus 0 whole square is equals to 5 square. And then simplify, this will get x square plus y square is equals to 25. This is it. So if I'll show you on the Desmos as well, you will see a circle x square plus y square is equals to 25. So look, the center was 0 comma 0, and this is the maximum point on the circle 0 comma 5. So you can see the distance is what between the center and the maximum point. It is 5 units. The radius is 5 and the center is 0 comma 0. Similarly, if you want to find the equation for this one, x minus your a is 1 plus y minus 2 whole square is equals to 4 square. So the equation becomes x minus 1 whole square plus y plus 2 whole square is equals to 16. So let's look at this as well. X minus 1 whole square plus y plus 2 whole square is equals to 16. So look over here again. Your center is, let me show it to you, 1 comma minus 2. So look, the center is this thing, and your maximum is 0 comma 2. On the left, on the below, you have 1 comma minus 6. So you just have, if you want to find the maximum point on the circle, you add the radius to the y coordinate of the center. And the center coordinate is 0 comma minus 2 and the radius was 4. So if you add 4 to the y coordinate of the center, so minus 2 plus 4 is 2. So that is the maximum point on the circle. And minus 2 minus 4, the radius minus 4, the below, if you go below the center, you will get minus 6. So look, you're getting centers, sorry, the circles the same way. The center is also the same and the radius is also the same. Similarly, if they have given you this equation, you will get x minus 0 whole square plus y minus 5 whole square is equals to 10 square. It's a bigger radius. So this becomes x square plus y plus 5 whole square is equals to 100. That's it. So sometimes in the equation, they may give you, or you may find the center and the radius yourself using some other information that they've given you, and they ask you to find the center equation, circle equation. So you should memorize this general equation of the circle and just input them in the correct places and then simplify. For the last one, you will get x minus 6 whole square plus y square is equals to 1 square, which is 1. Similarly, they can give you the equation and then ask you the center and the radius. So if they have given you find the center and radius of, so for this one, You will compare it with the general form which you have learned. The general form is x minus a whole square plus y minus b whole square is equals to r square. So after comparison, your a comes out as minus 2, your b comes out as 1, and your r square comes out as 7. So your radius will be square root of 7, and your center is minus 2 comma 1. समझ आ रहा है? Easy? All good till here?
Yeah, easy.
Finding the radius and center from the equation, or finding the equation from the radius and center. Let's suppose you have so in this one your a is plus 10 and your b is 0 and your r square is 70. So 10 comma 0 and radius is your under root 70. So you have to keep in mind about the negative. You have a negative sign inside your general form. So here we had x minus 10 and x minus a whole square. So the minus minus cancel out. So your a will come out as 10. So there's a silly mistake that most of the students make. I have also made this. So keep this in mind. Don't make this. Otherwise, now you know the equation of the circle. And you know actually it is also forming on the Desmos as well. The next thing, if your equation is not in this form of the circle, for example, they ask you find center and radius of x square plus 10x plus y square minus 16y plus minus 10 is equals to 0. What about this? How will you get the center and radius? Anyone? Any ideas? This is something, if you think about it, you can get it as well. Ryan, Munib, do you have any idea? No idea. You can use completing the square form. You have done in quadratics, the completing the square form. So you would need to apply completing the square form for both of this part, for this part as well, for this part as well. So if you would do that, you will get x plus 5 whole square minus 25. And for this one, y minus 8 whole square minus 64 minus 10 is equal to 0. And then you move the other parts away. Minus 10 minus 10 plus 64 plus 25. So this is your r square, right? So r square comes out as 35 plus 99. This is your 99. So radius is square root of 99. And your center will be minus 5 and 8. Isn't it? Do you get it? Ryan and Munib. Or do you want me to
Mm,
further?
okay.
You have done this completing the square form in quadratics. You can use any of the methods that you have done for completing the square form. My method or the any other method that you have learned. But yet you change it into this completing the square form. And then now you see this is what it leads to, the equation of the circle. The format, the actual format that we have for the equation of circle. For x minus, let me show it to you. For x plus 10x, x square plus 10x, your a is 1, your b is 10, your c is 0. So h is minus b upon 2a. which is minus 5, and your k is 0 minus b square upon 4a, which is minus 25. So look, this is coming out as 1x minus 5 will become plus 5 and minus 25. For the other one, y square minus 16y. So your a is 1, your b is minus 16, your c is 0. So h will be minus 16 upon 2a, which is 8, and k is 0 minus 16 square upon 4a, which will be 64, negative 64. So this will now lead to y1 y minus 8 whole square minus 64, है ना? Easy. Any questions, anyone? Ryan, Munib.
No, okay.
Okay, copy this down, this one. This is a good example. And I'll give you one more to do right now. And then try that. Okay, I'm pausing the recording for now. Copy this one down, this example. Okay, so you did this one, you got the right answer. So when you converted using the complete and square form, you got your radius is 1.5 and the y coordinate is minus 2. And the radius is, sorry, the center is 1.5 comma minus 2 and the radius is square root of 5.25. So this is one of the things that they very explicitly ask. They give you an equation like this in this form and they ask you for the radius and the center. So this is how you do it. So there are a lot of more things also to be discussed in this topic. Is not finished yet, and we will continue in the next class. Okay. Meanwhile, I'll share you some
Okay.
worksheet on this thing to the practice accordingly, and then. Okay, this is it for this class. Stopping the recording.